Alright, Sid here, and going around the internet is the BrainStorm slash Green Needle. I don't think it's quite as popular as Yanni slash Laurel, but it's very different because Yanni slash Laurel was to do with the pitches you could hear, whereas BrainStorm Green Needle is actually your brain filling in gaps. And for that reason, you can actually break it down a lot easier. And so what I'm going to do is just go over that and explain why I think it's one of the options and why I think that option is a bit wrong. And actually, I'm not fully sure what it's meant to be, but I'll show you what I think and why I think it. So, first of all, let's hear the sound on its own. Alright. So, you can go over that a million times. It's not going to change, but your perception can change quite easily. So, first of all, right at the start, you don't actually hear the impact of a B or a G or a D in this situation, but you do hear something before the rain, and that's pretty definite that it's definitely a rain sound. You could say it's more like a reen, but just keep going over it. It's sort of it's closer to rain. And then what happens is we have the second word starting around about here, right? Or, depending on which variant you're going. So if you're saying that it's needle, it starts around about here. But, see, there's two ends in a row, and you can mesh those together. So if you mesh those together, what happens is the second word will start about here. Right? And no matter how many times I personally play it from around about there or break it down, I can never actually get the S sound without actually having the N sound prior. And if you break that N sound up, you can never get the storm. You'll always get needle. And then this here is where this little bump is where you're hearing the T or the D, right? And if you just break it down, you don't really hear any M at the end, first of all. That M is just kind of imagined or assumed. But you do hear a dull, and that can kind of be an OE kind of sound or an LE kind of sound, but it does sound very much like dull as in needle. And when you break it down syllable by syllable, it's really definitely BrainStorm. It's really definitely Green Needle. You know, you can hear that by putting these gaps in, it really forces it to be Green Needle, and you can't unhear Green Needle from that option. But if we put these gaps, so that would be where it would be, right? Get rid of a bit of that, so that there's no NE transition. Yeah, that's it. So, like, if you want to force the word storm, that's the closest I can really get. So that would be breakdown. Alright, so that's the closest I can get to storm on its own, right? And no matter how many times I hear it, it actually sounds more like stool than storm. I don't know, does anyone hear storm? Alright, let's go over to the second reason why I believe what it is. So if we just go back to the original thing, right, the little toy lights up, which is cute. Now if you hear it with the word BrainStorm, right where the B should be, it lights up. Right before the S, it lights up. And then on the T, it lights up. And that's good and all. Why does it land there? I don't know. But if we go for Green Needle, it lands on the G, the N, and the D. The starts of the syllables. Perfect timing. So that's why I believe it's that. And why am I wrong? Apparently this toy is called BrainStorm. Apparently it's a Ben 10 thing. And it sounds somewhat familiar to me, honestly. But I don't know. I haven't kept up with the show, and they had all those extra things. I only watched it like 10 years ago. Yeah, they could have had. Maybe it's an enemy. You can hardly make out what the figurine is. I'm sure it is the BrainStorm one, though. So that's why I'm wrong. And despite me showing you that it's closer to Green Needle that's being heard, it's apparently BrainStorm. So yeah, there you go. Well, actually, I think it's Grain Stool. Yeah, it's it's Drain Stool, Drain Stool, Grain Stool, Rain Stool, Grain Needle, Drain Needle, Brain Needle. It's all of them. It's everything. Because the words, even though the second word doesn't start at the same point, basically the way you change between the two words is you impose a break between the two N's. Because that N pushes that E to be an S. Or the S to be an E. You know? So that's all I really have to say on the matter. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I hope you had fun listening to me.